What you're about to hear isn't just ghost stories, and it isn't just Hollywood jump scares. These are documented cases of people claiming to encounter something darker, something demonic. These are the most chilling demonic cases ever caught in some form of uncut recording or documentation. Each one is disturbing, mysterious, and refuses to be explained away. Let's dive in. The Demon House, the Latoya Ammons case. A child was filmed walking backwards up a hospital wall, flipping over and landing on his feet. That was the moment a team of social workers and nurses stopped laughing at the Ammons family's claims and started calling in priests. In 2011, Latoya Ammons moved into a small rental home in Gary, Indiana, with her mother and 3 kids. From the start, things felt very wrong. Black flies swarmed their porch in the still of winter, shadows moved across the walls at night, then it escalated. Loud footsteps, disembodied voices, and strange oil-like substances dripping from blinds and doors. Her children began acting possessed. One son growled in a deep, unnatural voice and lifted off the ground floating. Another was taken to the hospital, and in front of social workers and doctors, he supposedly ran backwards up the wall to the ceiling. Multiple witnesses signed official reports saying they saw it themselves. The case caught the attention of the police, clergy, and media. Local police officers visited the house reporting strange voices on their recorders, malfunctions in their equipment, and even feelings of being watched. Priests were called to bless the house and later perform exorcisms on Latoya and her children. The home earned the nickname the 200 Demons House. Eventually, paranormal investigator Zach Bagans bought it, filmed a documentary inside, and later demolished it, claiming the energy was just too dark to leave standing. Why it baffled experts? Well, this wasn't just one family making wild claims. It was police captains, doctors, nurses, social workers writing sworn statements about things they couldn't explain. It became one of the most widely reported demonic possession cases in the US. There's a recent movie actually on Netflix called The Deliverance, which is about this case. It stars Glenn Close and Monique and that kid from Stranger Things, and they all actually gave their roles everything there was to give, so go watch it. It's very good. The possession of Clarita Villanueva. Now, 17-year-old Clarita was locked inside a Manila jail in 1953 when she suddenly started screaming in agony, clutching her arms and neck. Guards rushed in only to see fresh bite marks appearing on her skin as if teeth were sinking into her flesh, though no one was touching her. Clarita claimed she was under attack by 2 demonic beings, one a large hairy man and the other with an angelic face but twisted evil features. They bit, scratched, and tormented her, forcing her to speak in perfect English, a language she didn't even know. Now, her attacks didn't happen in the shadows. They erupted in broad daylight during court hearings, in front of police, journalists, doctors, and government officials. Witnesses swore they saw her convulse, scream obscenities, and collapse as invisible fangs tore into her body. News of her possession spread worldwide, covered by newspapers and documented in books. American missionary Lester Smurl was eventually called in, and after a series of prayers and exorcisms, the attack ceased. Now, why experts were baffled with this one? Well, doctors couldn't explain the spontaneous bite marks or her sudden fluency in English. Skeptics tried to claim it was mass hysteria or self-inflicted wounds, but the number of witnesses and the violent nature of her fits, left them completely shaken. The Smurl Haunting. Imagine living in a home for over a decade, but instead of memories of birthdays and holidays, your walls echo with violent attacks, growls, and shadowy figures. That was life for the Smurl family in Pennsylvania between 1974 and 1989. For years, the Smurls claimed their home was plagued by a violent demonic entity. Now, they reported being scratched, shoved, and slapped. Janet Smurl described being pinned down by an invisible force, while her husband Jack claimed he was attacked in bed. Their daughter said they were touched by cold, unseen hands. On one occasion, Janet said she woke up with a perfect fish-shaped bruise on her arm, though no one had struck her. They heard loud banging, smelled foul odors of rotting flesh, and saw apparitions of black masses that darted through hallways. Investigators were brought in, including well-known demonologists Ed and Lorraine Warren. Now, they claimed the Smurls were being attacked by a demon and that exorcisms were performed. The Catholic Church, however, was hesitant to fully endorse the case, leaving the family caught between science and faith. Now, their story was so public that it became a book and later a made-for-TV movie called The Haunted, and possibly you'll know the more popular film based on the story, The Conjuring series. Now, even after they moved, the family said the dark presence followed them. So why were experts so baffled in this one? Well, it wasn't just whispers. There were bruises, smells, and dozens of witnesses. Investigators documented strange recordings and cold spots, though skeptics suggested the family exaggerated for attention. To this day, no clear explanation actually exists. The Exorcism of Anneliese Michel. Now, this case is one of the darkest and most disturbing because the evidence still exists in uncut audio tapes. Now, in 1975, 23-year-old German student Anneliese Michel began showing signs of what her family believed was possession. She had been diagnosed with epilepsy, but her condition escalated beyond seizures. She refused food, ripped clothes off her body, destroyed religious objects, and claimed she was inhabited by multiple demons, including Lucifer, Cain, and Judas. Now, over the next 10 months, priests performed 67 exorcism rites, many of which were recorded on tape. On those tapes, Anneliese could be heard growling, screaming, and speaking in multiple voices at once. Her family claimed she ate insects, licked her own urine from the floor, and even bit the head off of a bird. By mid-1976, she refused all food and water. She grew skeletal, covered in bruises, and on July 1st, she passed away of malnutrition and dehydration. She was only 68 pounds at the time of her passing. Now, the case went to trial with the tapes played in court. Her parents and the priests were charged with negligent homicide for allowing her to basically starve. Yet to this day, many people who hear those tapes insist no medical condition could explain her voice or her behavior. So why are experts baffled with this case? Well, the uncut audio remains, again, some of the most disturbing so-called demonic evidence in existence. Psychologists cite schizophrenia and epilepsy, but believers argue the recordings sound like multiple beings speaking at once, something far beyond any mental disorder. The Louviers Possession, Madeleine Bavent, and the Haunted Covenant. Now, our final case takes us back to 17th century France, where one of the most infamous possessions unfolded in the town of Louviers. Nuns began convulsing, cursing, and screaming blasphemies during church services. They claimed to be tormented by a demon named Anneliese. Now, some said they were forced to attend satanic rituals, participate in black masses, and even perform grotesque acts with priests they accused of witchcraft. Now, one of the central figures, Madeleine Bavent, testified that she had been forced by priests into signing a pact with the devil. She claimed she saw visions of crucifixions, disembowelments, and monstrous entities inside the covenant. Now, the scandal exploded into public view. Exorcisms were performed before large crowds with nuns kind of, writing on the floor, speaking in strange voices, and making claims of demonic marriages. Officials recorded the confessions and used them as evidence in witch trials. Though skeptics argue these possessions were mass hysteria combined with religious and political manipulation, the details remain deeply unsettling. The transcripts describe scenes that even modern horror movies would hesitate to show. So again, and lastly, why experts are baffled in this one? Well, it's because these weren't a handful of villagers in a dark corner. They were educated nuns, priests, and public officials in a structured religious environment. The convulsions, accusations, and so-called uncut confessions kind of became one of the best documented cases of mass demonic possession in history. These stories share a common thread: multiple witnesses, official reports, physical evidence, and recordings that still leave people unsettled and play rent-free in your minds. Whether you see them as mental illness, hysteria, or true encounters with evil, one thing is undeniable: the raw, uncut details have baffled experts for decades. And the question lingers: if even one of these cases, are real, what else could be lurking in the shadows, waiting to be caught on camera? Let me know your take on all of this. Thanks for watching. I'm your host, Ashley. I'll see you later. These creepy, abandoned theaters hiding evil secrets will either scare you into your nightmares or pique your curiosity enough to want to visit. Either way, get your popcorn ready for this one. The New Amsterdam Theater. This is the Ghost in Green. Now, she appeared in the still of the night, a woman in a shimmering green beaded gown gliding across the floor into darkness. Now, she was blowing a kiss and vanishing through a wall. That's what a night guard claimed he saw in the long abandoned New Amsterdam Theater located in New York City. Now, the New Amsterdam Theater opened in 1903 as a Broadway jewel, but by the 1980s, it lay in ruins. Now, mushrooms grew on the walls, water flooded the floors, and the once golden ceilings rotted away and rusted. During restoration, in the 1990s, when the theater was nothing but a decaying shell, workers and guards began to see her, a glamorous figure carrying a small blue bottle. Many believe this is Olive Thomas,